This is not the kind of video you usually see about wildlife. Today, we follow the Hadzabe in a rare moment on the savannah, where humans and lions stand very close to each other, and every choice carries a matter of survival. The morning on the savannah starts very slowly, but it is far from peaceful. The Hadzabe do not rush to leave their living area immediately, because they know today is not an ordinary day. When it comes to lions, every action must be carefully considered. There is no loud discussion or commotion, only exchanged glances and familiar gestures showing that the group is ready. Before moving, they carefully check their hunting tools. Every bow and arrow carries the experience of many years surviving on the savannah. This preparation is not for show, it is a habit that helps them stay focused and calm. For the Hadzabe, hunting a lion is not about proving strength, but the greatest test of understanding nature. As they leave the living area, the group moves slowly and steadily. They do not search for tracks hastily, but observe the space around them. The wind direction, old footprints on the dry ground, and the slightest movements of grass and shrubs. On the savannah, a lion is not always visible, but its presence can always be felt. The atmosphere gradually changes. The silence does not create tension. Instead, it helps each member connect better with one another. Everyone knows their position in the group, and all understand that this journey requires more patience than any other hunt. This is only the beginning, but the sense that they are entering the lion's territory is clear in every step. If you were a member of the Hadzabe, would you join this hunt? Share your thoughts with us. As the signs of a lion's presence become clearer, the Hadzabe group deliberately slows their pace. On the savannah, they understand that facing a lion is not about strength or recklessness, but a test of their ability to read nature. The deep, large footprints pressed into the dry ground, the low grass bent in a specific pattern, and the characteristic scent carried by the wind all indicate that the lion has passed through recently. The group keeps a safe distance from the lion. No one tries to get too close, nor do they make unnecessary movements that might disturb the environment. The Hadzabe carefully observe the wind direction, the position of the sun, and even the reactions of smaller animals nearby. For them, birds falling silent or grass moving strangely can sometimes be more reliable than tracks that can be seen. Coordination occurs very naturally. Without clear signals, each person adjusts their position to maintain the best observation while keeping the group safe. Their steps become lighter and slower, as if the entire group is moving in rhythm with the breath of the savannah. This is not a direct hunting moment, but a time to assess the boundary between humans and a top predator. What is remarkable is the absence of any sense of conquest or confrontation. The Hadzabe do not see the lion as an enemy. They understand that lions have their role in the ecosystem, and humans are here to exist alongside them, without intruding more than necessary. Every decision revolves around minimizing conflict and protecting both people and the natural habitat. If you can feel the real tension in this moment, hit like to show your support. When the Hadzabe group returns to their living area, no announcement is needed. Everyone understands that today's journey has ended safely. The atmosphere shifts quickly, from the intense focus on the savannah to a sense of relief and closeness. Smiles appear, and glances are exchanged as a quiet confirmation that the whole group has shared a special moment together. That celebration is neither loud nor showy. It's made up of everyday moments, people gathering, sharing food and water, and talking about what just happened.
Oh, no, no.
Someone recalls the lion tracks on the ground, another mentions the change in the wind, and the group listens together, as if watching a movie that has just ended. What stands out is that the joy doesn't come from conquest, but from returning together. For the Hadzabe, a successful hunt is first and foremost a journey where everyone is safe. That's why the shared meal becomes a symbol of unity.
Boko mo ta papa ka no ngope ona kana be kwa bawa ayu maine ting tu baba ting ka.
No distinction is made between who tracked, who led, or who followed. Everyone holds an equal place in the circle. The space now feels warm and slow. Conversations mix with the sounds of the savannah at the end of the day, creating a very distinctive sense of peace. This is when experience is passed on naturally, through stories, gestures, and simply being present together. The celebration ends gently, without a climax. Yet it is this simplicity that reflects the Hadzabe spirit clearly: respect for nature, appreciation for the community, and seeing every journey as a part of life, rather than a victory to be shown off. Before leaving the camp, the Hadzabe spend time on tasks that may seem very small. The bowstring is removed, checked for tension, then carefully reattached. Arrows are straightened, their sharp tips adjusted and secured. No one rushes. In this hunt, even the smallest mistake can turn into a serious risk when facing danger at close range. Only when everything is ready do they step away from the camp, leaving behind the thin trail of smoke still rising from the fire. On the savannah, a python does not leave clear signs like running animals do. The Hadzabe focus on details that are easy to miss: a strip of grass pressed down into a long curve, low bushes gently parted, dry ground marked by faint drag lines, as if something heavy has slowly passed through. A python does not move in a hurry, and neither do its tracks. That slow movement is exactly what makes following it more difficult. As they move deeper, the group keeps a careful distance from one another. No one stands too close, but no one breaks formation. A python hides extremely well, blending into the color of the soil and dry grass, often revealing itself only when humans are already within danger range. The Hadzabe understand this clearly. They do not search for the python with hurried glances, but read the entire space around them, the direction of the wind, the silence, and any subtle sense that something feels out of place. The long silence makes every step feel heavier. There are no calls, no clear signals. Only brief eye contact and familiar hand gestures. In this hunt, spotting the python early does not automatically mean safety. Sometimes, it is simply a sign that the distance between human and prey has already narrowed, and every decision that follows must be precise. If you have ever experienced a moment when nature falls completely silent, where a single wrong step could change everything, leave a comment below and share that feeling with Inside Hadzabe Tribe. The python lies almost completely still among the dry grass, its long, heavy body stretched along the ground like a natural part of the savanna. Its dark skin blends with the soil and sunburnt grass, making it hard to distinguish from the surroundings. Only when a section of its body shifts slightly, very slowly, do the Hadzabe know for certain that the prey is right in front of them. This is not the kind of prey that runs when discovered. It chooses to stay still, observe, and wait. The air around them grows thick and heavy. The python lifts its head slightly off the ground, its tongue flicking out for a brief moment before disappearing again, constantly sensing the smallest changes in the air. Each time it moves, powerful muscles tighten and release, slow but full of weight. The Hadzabe understand clearly: at this distance, the python does not need speed. It only needs the right moment. The group holds their positions for several long breaths. Their eyes move constantly between the python and one another, communicating through familiar signals. One by one, they begin to shift gently to each side, widening their angle of approach. Every step is placed with extreme care, avoiding any unnecessary sound. To a python, even a slight vibration can change everything. The bows are raised slowly. The arrows rest quietly on the strings, aimed toward the python but without any rush. The Hadzabe watch every detail, the way the python coils its body, the direction of its head, the barely noticeable movement of its tail. That long body may look slow, but everyone knows that in a single instant, it can become something completely different. The python slides forward a short distance, revealing more of its full length. Thick coils of muscle stack upon one another, giving a sense of weight and strength. It does not attack, and it does not retreat. It simply stays there, as if measuring the distance, waiting for humans to make a mistake first. That calm, deliberate stillness slows the group's heartbeat, yet makes the tension heavier than ever. When the right moment appears, everything happens almost at once. There is no chaos, no loud noise. The Hadzabe focus on ending the encounter quickly, without prolonging the risk. Only after the python lies still do they step back a few paces, keeping their eyes on it for a while longer. Only when they are certain everything is stable do they finally lower their bows. Only then does the tension truly fade away. On the ground, the python lies stretched out across the vast savanna. And for the Hadzabe, this hunt is another reminder that some prey does not need to run to be dangerous. Sometimes, it is the silence and patience of nature itself that becomes the greatest challenge humans must face. If you found yourself holding your breath alongside the Hadzabe in this moment, don't forget to like the video and continue the journey with us. The prey is brought back to camp while the sun is still high in the sky. There is no long pause, no complicated ritual. The hunt is over, and now all attention turns to one simple thing: the fire is about to be lit. The fire slowly comes to life in the center of the camp. Dry wood burns steadily, glowing embers begin to appear. The python meat is placed directly over the flames, without seasoning, without elaborate preparation. Fat drips onto the hot coals, creating a steady, gentle sizzling sound. Smoke rises, carrying the distinct smell of roasted meat, drifting softly through the dry heat of the savanna. Everyone sits around the fire in silence, watching, letting the fire and time do their work. As the meat cooks, its color changes clearly. A few people turn the pieces over, checking them by sight and familiar experience. No one rushes, no one seems impatient. Here, cooking is not something to hurry through, but a pause after hours of tension out on the plains. The meal begins naturally. The meat is divided into portions and placed directly into each person's hands. No names are called, no strict rules are spoken. Everyone knows how much to take and what to leave for others. Children sit close to the adults, eating while watching the fire. People eat slowly, chewing carefully, allowing their bodies to truly absorb the energy they have gained. After many hours of hunting and stress, the meal brings a very different feeling. Shoulders relax. Eyes soften. The atmosphere in the camp becomes lighter and warmer. Short conversations begin to appear, mixed with the sound of the fire and long, comfortable silences.
Baik upi ono amekuwa
This is the moment when both body and mind are finally able to rest. When everyone finishes eating, the sky has not yet gone dark. The last light of the day spreads a pale golden color across the camp. The mood shifts clearly. A few people stand up first, clapping their hands in a familiar, steady rhythm. Without any signal, singing begins naturally deep, raw voices carrying out into the open space. Dancing starts to form around the camp. There are no complex movements, just repeated, rhythmic steps following the clapping and the singing. Each footstep touches the ground as if in time with the breath of the savannah. Children stand up too, joining in with clumsy but energetic movements, their small laughter rising softly through the camp. The singing spreads and blends into the evening wind. Firelight reflects on faces that are no longer heavy with fatigue. The tension from earlier is gone. What remains is people, sound, movement, and the very real feeling of being full. This is not a grand celebration, but the way the Hadzabe close a day of survival by the fire, with food, and with the simple joy of being together, before darkness slowly covers the wide savannah. The walk into the forest begins like any other day. The Hadzabe move calmly through sparse bushes, watching the ground in the space ahead. No one is aiming for a large animal, because for them, hunting always depends on what nature allows on that particular day. Everything changes when the Hadzabe stop in front of a very large footprint pressed deep into the dry ground. This track is different from what they usually see. The soil is heavily compacted, and the grass around it is clearly flattened. At a glance, they know it belongs to a large antelope, fast, strong, and extremely alert. There is no long discussion. The hunters quickly change direction and begin following the trail. Their pace increases noticeably, while the necessary silence is maintained. The tracks appear and disappear, forcing them to stop repeatedly to read the ground and adjust the direction of the pursuit. The tracking continues under the sun, draining a great deal of energy. The antelope does not move in a straight line, making the trail harder to follow. At times the tracks almost vanish completely, but after a few minutes of careful observation, the group finds new signs and moves forward again. Then the moment they have been waiting for arrives. The antelope steps out from the bushes and becomes clearly visible in the open space ahead. A large body, a long distance, and wide open ground. The group stops. Bows are raised very slowly. No one moves. No one speaks. For a few brief seconds, everything seems to freeze. When the opportunity comes, an arrow is released. The prey bolts in panic. The Hadzabe move forward immediately, staying close to the tracks and keeping the antelope within reach. After a short distance, the animal goes down. A massive antelope, the result of patience, experience, and precise decisions made in moments that last only seconds. A hunt that was never planned, yet became a major success for the entire group. An unbelievable hunt. If you felt it, leave a like. After the antelope goes down, the group quickly shifts to processing the catch. There is no hesitation, because a large animal means there is a lot of work to be done. Some people hold it steady, while others begin cutting the meat into large sections right there on the spot. The movements are clean and familiar, with nothing left unused. Once the main portions of meat are separated, each person chooses a load that matches their strength. Large cuts are carried directly on the shoulder, in the arms, or held close to the body. The weight slows their pace, but no one hesitates. This is the result of the entire hunt, and bringing the meat back to the village is what matters most. The hunters begin the journey back. Their pace is steady and controlled, no longer tense like during the tracking, but still focused. Along the way, they occasionally stop to adjust how the meat is carried or switch carriers, making sure everything is brought back safely. When the hunters appear at the edge of the camp with large cuts of meat on their shoulders, the entire village takes notice. Everyone understands that the hunt has been successful and shares in the moment of celebration. Meanwhile, back at the camp, those who did not join the hunt have already begun preparing the meal. Some spread out around the village to gather vegetables, choosing special varieties that do not appear in everyday meals. Baskets of vegetables are gradually brought back and prepared near the cooking area.
They went to the mountain to catch a baboon, and they thought the baboon was suitable for making soup.
In another corner, maize flour is prepared early. Someone pours it out, adds water, and mixes it by hand. The work is slow and steady, a familiar part of daily life. Everything is made ready, waiting for the hunters to return. Which do you think is harder, the hunt itself, or carrying the catch back? Leave a comment. When the meat is brought back to the village, the preparation for the meal begins immediately. There is no need for calls or assignments. Each person naturally steps into a familiar task. The meat is placed at the center of the living area, becoming the focus of the entire gathering. The larger cuts of meat are then further divided into bite-sized pieces. Some people hold the meat while others cut, their movements quick and precise. Fresh meat is brought straight to the fire, where a small flame has already been prepared. The smell of meat begins to spread through the air, signaling that the meal is close. At the same time, the maize flour continues to be prepared. Someone adds water, kneading and mixing it by hand until it reaches a familiar consistency. Wild greens are lightly rinsed and neatly set aside, ready for the meal. Everything happens in parallel, without waiting on one another. When the meat is cooked, the food is brought out and shared evenly with everyone. No larger or smaller portions are reserved for anyone. The food is passed from hand to hand naturally, just as it has been done for many generations. The meal begins in a warm and comfortable atmosphere. Conversation grows livelier. Some people recall tense moments from the hunt, while others eat quietly and observe their surroundings. Children sit among the adults, holding their food and learning how to eat and share in the most natural way. When the maize flour and wild greens are served, the meal feels complete. Everyone slows down, enjoying the result of a long day. There is no rush, because this is the moment when the whole community truly comes together. There is no more tension, no more fatigue, only a sense of fullness and connection. For the Hadzabe, a hunt is only truly complete when food is shared and eaten together like this. For the Hadzabe, a new day does not begin with a specific plan or a clear target for prey. They leave the camp when the light is just bright enough, carrying their familiar bows and stepping into a landscape that has been part of their lives for many generations. There is no rush, and no sense of anticipation tied to a major hunt. Everything unfolds as a natural part of daily life. As they move, the group observes more than they act. They pay attention to the dry ground, fresh footprints, lightly brushed branches, or faint sounds coming from afar. These details do not always lead to a hunt, but they help the Hadzabe understand how the savannah is changing on that particular day. Within this rhythm, baboons are not a prey that appears often or is actively sought out. But when signs show that a troop is moving through the area, the group becomes more cautious. No one shows excitement or abruptly changes direction. For them, whether to continue tracking or not depends entirely on the real conditions of that day. What matters most is not the prey, but how the group moves together. The Hadzabe speak little during forest walks, yet they always keep enough distance to observe and support one another when needed. There is no clear leader. Decisions take shape naturally through small actions and unspoken agreement. Hunting is not about conquest, but part of a long relationship between people and the environment around them. And when an opportunity appears, it is not a personal victory, but a condition that allows the entire community to continue living a full day on the savannah. What do you think is most important for humans to live alongside nature? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. The first signs appear quietly, a few scattered sounds in the treetops, leaves trembling lightly before falling silent again. Almost at the same moment, the Hadzabe slow their pace. They understand that if baboons are present in the area, it is usually an entire troop, as this species rarely moves alone. Baboons have a clearly structured social system. They live in large groups, with certain individuals constantly watching the surroundings. Because of this, approaching them requires a great deal of patience. The Hadzabe do not try to close in right away, but keep enough distance to avoid alerting the troop too early. While tracking, the group moves slowly and steadily. From time to time, they stop under sparse tree cover, listening more carefully to the sounds ahead. Baboons can move quickly on the ground and climb with great agility, so any rushed action can easily cause the troop to change direction. Another trait of baboons is that they often move as a tight group, yet occasionally some individuals lag behind or drift slightly along the edges. The Hadzabe know this well. They carefully observe these small movements, not to force anything, but to wait for the most suitable conditions of the day. Coordination among the hunters happens almost without words. A glance, a very slight hand movement is enough for the whole group to adjust their positions. No one appears tense or hurried. For them, tracking baboons does not always lead to a result, and that is completely normal. When the right moment appears, action unfolds quickly and efficiently. There is no cheering or display. For the Hadzabe, this moment is not a climax meant to be retold, but simply one part of the familiar flow of that day. The hunt ends quietly, and the group prepares to move on to the next rhythm of their journey. Hit the like button to support stories that explore real wildlife life like this. After the hunt comes to a close, there is no clear line between an ending and a beginning. The group moves back to a familiar area where the campfire is lit naturally. No one sets food aside or keeps a portion for themselves. The food is placed at the center, and sharing happens calmly, as if it has always been understood. The Hadzabe do not organize the meal by roles or fixed order. Children sit close to adults, elders observe quietly, while those who took part in the forest walk unhurriedly prepare what they need to do. There are no tables or chairs, no invitations, just people sitting together at the right moment. The meal does not happen in a rush. People eat when it feels right and stop when they have had enough. Between these moments are short conversations, sometimes just exchanged glances or gentle smiles. The atmosphere is not loud, but it is not cold either. It carries the feeling of a community long accustomed to sharing everything together. What stands out most is not the food itself, but the way the Hadzabe are present with one another. No one is left behind, and no one holds the center for too long. The meal becomes a time when the entire community slows down together, resting after a long day of movement across the savannah. In the open space of the savannah, the meal becomes a shared pause, a moment where everyone sits together, shares, and continues a rhythm of life that has been familiar to them for a very long time. As the day comes to a close on the savannah, today's journey ends with peace and connection. Not every hunt needs a climax. Sometimes the greatest value lies in seeing humans and nature moving together in harmony. If these very real moments make you see wildlife differently, hit like, leave a comment, and continue exploring with us in the next stories about the Hadzabe in the African savannah.
Bem-vindo ao canal Tribo Hadzabe hoje. Estou no Vale de Aeda, onde formações rochosas secas se empilham umas sobre as outras como camadas esquecidas do tempo. O vento da savana sopra, quente e cortante, como um desafio que a natureza me lança, perguntando se tenho coragem de avançar ainda mais nessa jornada selvagem. Nesta terra, tudo é escrito pela floresta. Os Hadzabe não cozinham da maneira que estamos acostumados, eles conversam com a natureza através do fogo, através das mãos, e através de instintos afiados ao longo de milhares de anos. Para os Hadzabe, a comida não é um prato elaborado, mas o sopro da floresta concedido após cada caça. Ao segui-los, percebo algo extraordinário. Cada pedaço de carne selvagem que seguram não é apenas alimento, mas um fragmento da natureza ainda quente. O sabor tostado das brasas incandescentes mistura-se ao aroma da madeira seca, criando uma sinfonia primal há muito esquecida pelo mundo moderno. Hoje, caminharei ao lado deles para descobrir esse sabor, o gosto da existência crua, do legado ancestral e de uma tradição culinária diferente de qualquer outra, preservada pelos últimos caçadores deste canto selvagem da África. Ao amanhecer, sinto a savana despertar. O céu está cristalino, ventos secos varrendo os campos dourados, fazendo-me sentir como personagem central de um documentário pré-histórico. Para os Hadzabe, quando o sol nasce, um dia de sobrevivência começa oficialmente. Entre os sons característicos de estalos de sua língua, eles inspecionam cuidadosamente seus arcos, apertam as cordas e verificam as flechas revestidas com veneno vegetal. Com as ferramentas prontas, junto-me aos jovens caçadores enquanto partimos rumo aos desafios do dia. Os jovens Hadza são a alma deste lugar, portadores do conhecimento de caça transmitido através de incontáveis gerações. Entramos na floresta. Quanto mais avançamos, mais claro fica. Os Hadza não procuram a presa, eles leem a linguagem da floresta. Um galho quebrado, um leve farfalhar, um arranhão no solo, tudo se transforma em sinais que os guiam até a vida escondida. Eles escutam com o corpo inteiro, enxergam com olhos sintonizados a cada respiração da natureza. De repente, eles param. Um sinal sutil, mas suficiente para tensionar cada corda de arco. Pegadas e terra revolvida revelam a presença de um porco-espinho, um animal de espinhos afiados, mas fonte vital de alimento em tempos escassos. Os Hadza trocam olhares e estalos suaves, espalhando-se para cercar a toca como guerreiros preparando-se para uma batalha importante. No momento em que o porco-espinho emerge, os movimentos são rápidos como relâmpagos. Em poucos minutos, ele é capturado. Ouço uma comemoração suave, não um grito de triunfo, mas de alívio e gratidão. Para eles, isso não é apenas carne. É um presente da floresta, concedido àqueles pacientes e respeitosos o suficiente para recebê-lo. Após a exigente caçada, retornamos ao acampamento. A alegria é visível no rosto de cada caçador. Com apenas alguns pedaços de madeira friccionados entre si, as chamas surgem rapidamente, tão rápido que me deixam maravilhado. Como se tivessem despertado um velho amigo adormecido na floresta. Usando simples lâminas de pedra, os Hadza limpam o animal e colocam a carne diretamente sobre as brasas quentes. O estalo da madeira seca e o aroma da carne tostando criam algo ao mesmo tempo selvagem e hipnotizante. Uma cozinha primitiva da natureza, sem especiarias, sem técnicas elaboradas, apenas fogo e tempo moldando o sabor. Quando a carne está pronta, os anciãos são servidos primeiro. Por fora, tostada. Por dentro, macia e aromática. O sabor é intenso e puro. Não é apenas o gosto da carne, é o gosto da floresta, da terra e da sobrevivência. Sentamo-nos em círculo ao redor do fogo. Pedaços de carne quente passam de mão em mão enquanto as histórias da caça são recontadas. Risadas ecoam pela vasta natureza selvagem, trazendo um calor inesperado à noite. Após dias viajando com eles, imerso na vida da floresta, começo lentamente a esquecer a existência da tecnologia. Aqui, há apenas fogo, natureza e pessoas vivendo plenamente cada momento. Em uma era em que a conveniência cerca quase todos os aspectos de nossas vidas, os Hadzabe preservam sua identidade ancestral, caçando com habilidade, cozinhando com fogo e comendo com gratidão. É um sabor que nenhum restaurante ou culinária moderna pode replicar, porque não nasce de uma receita, mas de um vínculo profundo entre o ser humano e o selvagem. Se há algo que levo comigo após hoje, é isto. A simplicidade ainda pode criar algo extraordinário, desde que aprendamos a valorizá-la, assim como os Hadza valorizam cada presente que a natureza oferece. Bem-vindo ao canal Tribo Hadzabe hoje. Hoje, estou no coração da savana da Tanzânia, um lugar onde o sol e os ventos secos parecem fortes o suficiente para queimar a própria vida. A terra aqui é rochosa e árida. Enormes árvores baobá erguem-se contra o céu azul profundo. Este é o lar de um povo frequentemente descrito como os últimos da era dos caçadores-coletores. O que realmente me impressiona é como eles conseguem sobreviver em um lugar que parece quase inabitável. Para qualquer forma de vida, a água é essencial. Mas nesta terra seca, não há rios, não há riachos. Então, onde eles encontram água para sustentar toda a tribo? A resposta começa a se revelar agora. Eu sigo um grupo de Hadzabe. Eles se movem rapidamente, os olhos atentos a tudo, não em busca de presas, mas em busca de água. Os Hadzabe não têm mapas, não têm ferramentas de medição. Ainda assim, um pequeno sinal, um pedaço de solo úmido, o zumbido das abelhas ou um único galho verde no meio da savana seca, pode indicar a presença de água. Para eles, a natureza nunca está em silêncio. Com experiência e paciência, cada sinal fala de vida. Encontrar água é vital. Não é fácil e exige conhecimento profundo. Quando identificam um local promissor, vários homens param, fincam um pedaço de madeira no chão e começam a cavar. Sem paz, sem enxadas, apenas mãos calejadas e a crença de que, sob esta terra seca, ainda existem preciosas gotas de água. Camada por camada, o solo é solto, a poeira sobe no ar. E então, de repente, uma gota de água começa a infiltrar-se pela terra. Um grito de alegria ecoa. O grupo corre para frente, ajoelha-se ao redor do pequeno buraco e bebe goles de água fresca. O líquido fresco desce por gargantas ressecadas. Não é apenas água, é vida, é alívio que rompe depois de dias de espera. Eles sorriem e me dizem, é fresca e pura. Você pode sentir o gosto da terra, o gosto do tempo guardado dentro dela. Naquele momento, eu entendo. Cada gota de água aqui é uma recompensa para aqueles que têm paciência e sabem ouvir a Mãe Terra. Para o povo Hadza, o alimento também vem do fruto do baobá, um dos maiores presentes da natureza. O baobá, imponente na savana seca, permanece como um guardião da vida em uma terra onde quase nada mais sobrevive. Seu tronco maciço pode armazenar milhares de litros de água, uma fonte de vida escondida e preservada através das gerações. A polpa do fruto do baobá é altamente nutritiva. Serve tanto como alimento quanto como uma fonte eficaz de hidratação. Os homens sobem alto na árvore para colher os frutos. Eles os esmagam e misturam com uma pequena quantidade de água. Em poucos minutos, transforma-se em uma bebida branca e leitosa, de sabor levemente ácido e aroma perfumado. Naquele momento, sob o sol ardente da África, eu entendo por que os Hadzabe a chamam de a água da vida. Para eles, é um presente puro da natureza. O sol se põe sobre a savana. Os Hadzabe retornam às suas cabanas de capim, carregando recipientes de água feitos à mão. As crianças riem. Os adultos cuidam do fogo, preparando a refeição da noite. Mais um dia termina nesta terra sedenta. Eu me sento em silêncio, observando o sol desaparecer atrás dos baobás, e me pergunto, se um dia perdêssemos todos os nossos confortos modernos, ainda teríamos o instinto de ouvir a terra, de encontrar água, e talvez de redescobrir a nós mesmos, como eles fazem. Minha jornada com os Hadzabe me ensinou que viver em uma terra severa não é apenas sobreviver. É aprender a caminhar com a natureza, a valorizar cada gota de água, cada instante da vida. Adeus, e nos vemos nos próximos vídeos.
So this is the view.
Quando a noite cai, toda a aldeia se reúne ao redor do fogo. Eles cantam, eles dançam, erguem copos de água como um ritual, uma forma de agradecer à terra e ao céu. Vejo alegria nos olhos das crianças, gratidão nos rostos dos anciãos. Nesta terra selvagem, uma única gota de água é mais preciosa do que todas as comodidades da vida moderna.
El concepto de una vida sencilla adquirió un significado completamente distinto cuando acompañé a los cazadores Hadzabe en su lucha por la supervivencia en las tierras áridas de Tanzania. Un lugar que dice no a los dispositivos modernos, no a los horarios fijos, no a los planes concretos. Aquí comprendí que no estaba simplemente visitando una tribu, estaba entrando en una forma de vida primordial que ha perdurado, resiliente e intacta, durante decenas de miles de años. La primera vez que puse un pie en territorio Hadzabe, sentí algo difícil de describir. El bosque no simplemente vivía en un sentido biológico, poseía una vitalidad espiritual, como si cada árbol, cada sonido y cada sombra guardaran ecos de un pasado lejano. Los Hadzabe son una de las últimas comunidades cazadoras-recolectoras que permanecen en Tanzania. Han conservado muchos de los elementos esenciales de un modo de vida que existía mucho antes de que la humanidad conociera la agricultura, las ciudades o la sociedad moderna. A la mañana siguiente, nos preparamos para una caza salvaje y potencialmente peligrosa. Sin equipo especializado, solo arcos, cuchillos hechos a mano e instinto. Mientras nos adentrábamos en el bosque, cada paso era calculado, cada sonido tenía significado. Los Hadzabe seguían cuidadosamente cada señal dejada por su presa, asegurándose de no pasar por alto ningún detalle. Ellos no se ven como algo separado de la naturaleza. Se consideran parte de ella. La caza aquí no es simplemente obtener alimento, es una responsabilidad. Creen que la tierra proveerá, pero solo cuando el ser humano muestra respeto. Esa creencia guía cada decisión en sus vidas. Aquí no existe la idea de que el ser humano domine la naturaleza. Solo existe la coexistencia. Después de horas de tensión, un grito agudo rasgó de repente el silencio. En un instante fugaz, la presa cayó, un babuino salvaje. Esto no es caza por deporte. Es supervivencia, guiada por conocimientos transmitidos de generación en generación. En estas tierras, los Hadzabe no son los únicos cazadores. Las hienas, carroñeras oportunistas de esta región, permanecían en silencio al borde del bosque, observando con ojos pacientes. Para los Hadzabe no son enemigas, son recordatorios de que el ser humano no está solo en la caza. Aquí, la línea entre cazador y presa es frágil. La supervivencia no proviene de la dominación, sino de saber cuándo avanzar, y cuándo permitir que la naturaleza reclame su parte. No todo pertenece a la humanidad. Para los Hadzabe, la miel es más que alimento. Es nutrición, tradición y un vínculo con el propio bosque. Tanto hombres como mujeres participan en el proceso, y me impresionó especialmente su valentía. Sin ropa protectora, sin guantes, sin equipo moderno. Solo una cuerda, un palo largo y una confianza absoluta en la experiencia. Cuando la colmena se abre, la miel fluye como luz líquida del sol, dorada y cálida. Nos sentamos juntos en el bosque y la comemos fresca, allí mismo. Después de la caza llega un festín salvaje en el campamento Hadzabe. Sin utensilios modernos, sin especias elaboradas. Solo un método de cocina ancestral transmitido durante decenas de miles de años. Los Hadzabe son uno de los testimonios más duraderos de la humanidad. No persiguen el éxito. No acumulan riqueza. No miden la vida por la productividad. Viven plenamente en el momento presente, y dentro de su entorno. En un mundo obsesionado con la velocidad, el consumo y el crecimiento interminable, los Hadzabe representan algo completamente distinto: el equilibrio.
I'll see you there. I'll see you there.
Cuando abandoné el bosque, me llevé conmigo una reflexión silenciosa. Según los estándares modernos, los Hadzabe tienen muy poco, y, sin embargo, no les falta nada de lo que realmente importa. Tienen libertad, tienen comunidad, tienen propósito. Nos recuerdan que una vida significativa no proviene de poseer más, sino de necesitar menos, respetar más y comprender el verdadero lugar del ser humano dentro de la naturaleza. Y quizás el futuro de la humanidad aún pueda aprender algo de una de sus formas de vida más antiguas. Las mañanas en los bosques secos del norte de Tanzania no comienzan con despertadores ni notificaciones del teléfono. Comienzan con el viento moviéndose entre las espinosas acacias y la sensación de los pies descalzos tocando el suelo. Permanezco allí observando y de repente me pregunto, ¿realmente estoy retrocediendo a tiempos prehistóricos? Al amanecer, los hombres Az preparan en silencio sus arcos y flechas. Aquí no hay herramientas modernas, solo madera del bosque, tendones de animales, puntas de flecha recubiertas con extractos de plantas, y lo más importante, conocimientos transmitidos a través de generaciones de experiencia vivida. Los Az son una de las últimas comunidades de cazadores-recolectores que quedan en la tierra. No cultivan, no crían ganado, no almacenan alimentos. Sus vidas se desarrollan completamente en el presente. Esta no es una vida fácil, pero es una forma de existencia refinada y templada a lo largo de decenas de miles de años. Mientras los sigo hacia el bosque, comienzo a notar algo sorprendente. Según los estándares modernos, poseen muy poco. Sin embargo, en otro sentido, conservan cosas que muchas sociedades han perdido: tiempo, conexión y la capacidad de leer la naturaleza a través del instinto y la experiencia vivida. Una vez que se detecta la presa, la caza se desarrolla de manera rápida, silenciosa y decisiva. Sin gritos, sin la tensión dramática de las películas, solo la coordinación familiar de hombres que han hecho esto desde que eran jóvenes. Para los Az, la caza no es un deporte ni un entretenimiento. Es una parte natural del ciclo de la vida que sostiene la vida, para que la comunidad pueda continuar. De pie allí, pienso en cómo obtenemos los alimentos hoy en día. Todo aparece cuidadosamente empaquetado en los supermercados, separado con cuidado de su origen. Aquí, la verdad no está oculta. Se ve, se acepta y se respeta. Cuando el animal es abatido, no hay celebración ni emoción visible, solo miradas tranquilas y serenas. Cientos de abejas revolotean a su alrededor. Su zumbido suena como una tormenta. Si hubo un momento que realmente me dejó atónito, fue verlos trepar a los árboles para recolectar miel silvestre sin ningún tipo de protección. Sin embargo, los hombres Az permanecen tranquilos, como si el dolor fuera solo un elemento secundario de la vida. La miel, su fuente de energía más preciada, es extraída. Cuando finalmente la pruebo, entiendo por qué están dispuestos a soportarlo todo por este regalo. 1. La comida es llevada de regreso a la comunidad. Todo se prepara y se cocina, sin condimentos, sin recetas complicadas. El fuego, el humo y el olor de la carne asada mezclándose con el aire del bosque crean su comida. Comen en el suelo, sin mesas, sin sillas, sin distinción entre las mejores y las peores porciones. Todo se comparte. Noto que nadie come solo. En el mundo Haz, comer es un acto social, no individual. Quizás por eso rara vez hablan de carencia o escasez. Cuando todo se comparte, el miedo a la pérdida desaparece. Los Haz no son perfectos. Sus vidas enfrentan innumerables dificultades, baja esperanza de vida, sin medicina moderna. Sin embargo, poseen algo que buscamos en libros de autoayuda y retiros de meditación. Una presencia completa en el aquí y ahora. Tal vez la pregunta no sea quién vive mejor, sino si podemos reaprender algo de ellos antes de que sea demasiado tarde. En los bosques de Tanzania, mientras el sol se pone y las risas se elevan alrededor del fuego, llego a comprender una verdad simple. La comodidad no siempre equivale a la felicidad. Y a veces, para avanzar, la humanidad necesita mirar atrás, hacia donde todo comenzó.